Welcome to Watercolor Studio 42, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things I'm working on. Now, I'm trying to adjust my own personal style a little bit, but in doing that, also, I'm going to be illustrating or showing you folks at home how you can go about your own artwork. I think sometimes, I know I've mentioned it before, about you don't have to be a good artist or to draw well to paint, which is true. But the thing is, if you can draw pretty good, it does help your art. You know, you can enhance your work more. And also, you could probably have more confidence about your work when you paint. And so, but as far as that goes, there's so many variations of style. There's artists that paint very extremely realistically, photographically, if you will, almost. And it's time-consuming. Most of the artists that do that are watercolorists and probably oil painters, etc. But the thing is, you can do other things. And if you look at some of the art magazines, I get that watercolor magazines. That's obviously predominantly all watercolor paintings. And then there's the other one, the American Artist Review. Now that magazine is a little bit more expensive. It goes probably $8, $9 on the average on the counter. And I probably get it a little less than that, but it's kind of expensive because of all the artwork is color. And when they do coloration of photography and magazines and stuff, the price tag always goes up. So that's that. But it's good because it gives you an insight into what's going on in the art world. And when I get a chance, a friend of mine takes me over to the Watercolor Society over at Slater Park. And because we have, in Attleboro, we have our own art museum across the street over there. And on, I guess it's Park Street, still would be part of Park Street. And we got the flower show coming up this month, sometime around the 20th of March. And that's how I got started with the cable, through the crew from the cable was at the time, recording, filming some of the art show at the museum, and they asked me if I was interested in doing, what I'm doing now. And so, other than that, so aside from all the promotion, oh, by the way, I should say that I'll be back at the art show again this year. They asked me to come over and they set me up, and so I'll be painting something on location. Being a flower show, it's usually something to do with flowers or nature, or whatever, and whatnot. So, anyways, I'm usually there on the first day of the show. Starts on a Thursday, but I don't want to say the exact date. But it's around the 20th sometime. Okay, now, so much for the commercial. Now, what I'm going to be doing, some of my artwork I've been doing in the past is where you connect the dots. So I've been doing something like this, and then using a ruler or just my freehand, I've been connecting the dots. And sometimes what I've been doing is making shapes, okay? I'll put a few shapes on the paper, and you can move it around and see what you can make out of it, okay? Move it around. Now I'm going to do something similar to that today. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to start off using the pencil first, then I'm going to go over whatever I do with markup. Okay, so now you can be thinking about a particular topic. It can be about a person, flowers, trees, houses, whatever you want it to be. And the thing is that you can go about doing it that way, or you can just take it at random. A lot of times I'm not thinking about any particular thing, and just scribble and see what it can turn out to be by moving the paper around a little bit. So I'm going to try that, see what happens, okay? So I do it in pencil. Now, I have in my pocket somewhere, I thought before I left the house, besides my wallet, I have one of these white erasers, and it works very good. It has a funny name to it. It's called Hypo Lamar, and it's just a white eraser, but it erases pencil very, very good. So I use that, and if I want to backtrack. Now, when I do this today, I can also add to it as I go along. But let's say I'm just going to start off at random. If I could think blankly about no particular subject, I'll start in. And I'm just going to kind of scribble a little bit, you know? All right, here we go. Put some marks on my paper. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing here, okay? I'm just looking at the TV screen here, my timer, and whatever. Okay, I think I've done enough. I think. Okay. All right. Now what I've done here is I've just scribbled a little bit on the paper. Now I can add to this. If I see something that I want to develop, I can add more scribble to it and add a little bit more with my mark or whatever I want to do with the paper. So now I look at it and I'm trying to figure out what I can do with it. Okay. All right, this looks like a K in here. Now, I'm going to go over this a little bit darker with the marker so it will show up at home, okay? Permanent marker, okay? I'm just going to use a permanent marker. I'm just going to go over what scribble I have here so that you can see what I've done at home. I'm not really adding anything other than what I've done with the pencil, pretty much. Okay, we have something like that, something going here. Okay, now I think this will show up a little better at home. Add a little bit here, there. Oh, okay. Now, I wasn't thinking of any particular thing, but when you turn it this way, I made the letter K. Can you make out the K there? It can be 1. It could be like an X. Okay, you look at it this way at home. Okay, you see what we have here? All right, now turn it around. Looks like a table, doesn't it? Kind of a fuzzy table, but with the legs and so forth. All right, let's turn it around. Oh, this looks like it's interesting. That could be a person with a fishbowl, okay? That's kind of stretching it a little bit, but I might go that route, okay? I always like to find people in my pictures. And, you can always find what? People, and you can always find flowers, usually, with a stem, so forth, fluffy stuff. Okay, so that has potential. It could be anything. It looks like I don't know if it's a person or it could be like a cartoon character, like a bear or something. Yeah. Okay. I'm holding this this way, but also the overhead camera probably could look at it. Turn it around again. I don't know what that. could be. It's not what I want it to be. Okay, let's look at it. I want to do something that's not quite as crashed up, if you will. All right. Here we have a table with the legs, almost like a picnic table. Could be some things that we could add on the table. Okay. I'm tempted to go back. I think I'll go back to what I saw before. It was this: a person or something sitting down. They're sitting down, going fishing. Okay. So let's go that route today. See what happens. All right. Now. So this pad doesn't distract too much. Okay, now, if I wanted to make this into a person, then I got to figure out, what to do with the head. All right. So, this could be a person. I don't know. It's going to turn into a duck or whatever it's going to be, but nevertheless. This could be someone with a kind of beat-up old hat on. Okay, let's go over these marks. And this could be probably the chin in here, the nose. All right. Now, shoulder in here, back. They could be sitting on a bale of hay. Okay, but we'll make this their bum, and we can have them sitting on just about anything. Let's see, let's move around here. Okay, now they could have a fish pole, but I don't know if I've tried fishing, but sometimes my line, when I toss it out, gets caught up in a tree or does something crazy. So this could be their fish line, something like this. We'll make this a hook on the end, and it's all kind of tangled up. We'll have their arm is holding it out into here somehow. This is an arm in here, and the legs. Kind of legs look kind of foreshortened here. That looks like a foot in there. It could be something else. It could be a boat or something. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, now they could have their foot up on a rock, possibly. I was thinking of a boat, or it could be part of the dock. They're sitting out here. This is one of the posts in the dock, and they're sitting out here. Put another post in the background over here somewhere. Remember I said you can add to this? Okay. Once you establish the subject that you want to work on. All right. Now, I hope you can see what I've done here. I found the figure of the head in here, kind of a cap, those sun visor caps or whatever it is, and the fishbowl head, arm holding on to the pole, the seat, the bum, legs stuck out here somehow, and pretty much what we can go with. Now, remember, I had absolutely no thought of doing a person fishing, but that's what it turned out to be. Okay, so okay, I think maybe what helps a little bit is that you have to have a little bit of imagination, and maybe for me, it's probably a little easier. Because I've been doing this for over 50 years, or better. Well, from probably even when I was a little kid, drawing and painting in the coloring books and all that. So anyways, so it's probably a little bit easier for me to turn this around and find something. But it's fun to do whatever. Now, if it doesn't turn out to be a subject of any sort, you can just turn it into a design, you know, just some different variations of shapes and whatnot. You can add to it, you put circles in it and make it into a buggy or cart or whatever, bicycle, whatever you want to make it into. So, but let's go this route today, okay? We'll make somebody holding a fishbowl. All right. So, now, I made it look easy. It can be a little bit tricky. You do have to use your visual imagination, obviously. So now I got to decide, you know, what colors to use and whatnot. Now, usually you can make it like a background. It could be woods in the background. You might see a little bit of the water out in here, part of the pond or a lake. If this person is fishing, then whatnot. So we'll see what we can do. Now, if I'm going to do a little bit of background, I'll probably use some green. If I want to show some water, maybe some blue. Let's see, how can we have him dressed up? Of course, the flesh tone can be a little bit of whatever you want it to be, brown or orange, or whatever. We'll put that over there for now. Let's see. Let's see. You got the blue. Well, how about a little bit of red for a shirt? Use that. And coveralls. You might want to go back to the blue again. We'll think about that. Okay. But let's get a little bit of background going here. What I do is start off. I got my water, right? I got my water, I got my paper towels, a blot. Remember, I kind of paint with one brush in my left hand. I'm left-handed, and my paper in my right hand. Now, normally, if you're left-handed, like I am, you keep everything to the left, so you don't have to keep going across your paper. You might drop some paint where you don't want it to go, so if you're left-handed, everything's on the left side, you know, your palette, your water, and your brushes and so forth. Now, see, if you're right-handed, obviously, everything would be reversed. Everything's your water, your palette, and paint and all that would be on your right side for your right hand. Okay? So now, I usually start off with probably the biggest brush I have in my collection here today. I think I've got more markers mixed in here today than I have brushes. I'll have to square that away, balance that off. Now, usually I wet the paper in the background, okay? You don't have to be too fussy about how you put wet water on a piece of paper, as long as you get it in there. Okay, something like this. Now, if you got too much water, you might want to pat it down so it will dry faster. You know, you don't want a puddle there because it would take probably an hour or two to dry out or to settle into the paper. Okay, something like that. So now I can use a little bit of my green, and I can put some blue in there. What should I start with first? How about maybe some green, and then we'll add some blue for the sky, okay? So hopefully this is going to be green. We'll put some green. Put some green on the palette. And while I'm thinking about it, let's get the blue going. Let's see. I thought I put a blue over here. Yeah, I do. I have one. Okay. So green, we'll put the blue over next to it. Okay, like that. All right. Now I have to be careful because everything when I put it goes on the palette looks dark, and I've got to sometimes mark my palette with the letter for the paint color. Okay, now let's see. We wet the paper, right? We could still use the biggest brush we have, and we're going to take a little bit of the screen. We're going to put it over in here. All of this here is going to be the greens, okay? And so you can dash a little bit of green around in there. You want to break it up, make it look like trees, that's fine. You can tap your brush, you want to do that. You want it darker, just put more paint on the brush, right? So you get some variations of green shades in there. Something like this, all right? Now you can have a lot of fun with this. It's very loose, free, you know, kind of fluid. I have a nickname. They call me Mr. Fluid. I paint very, very loose sometimes. Sometimes, all the time. Sometimes I slow down. I get real fussy, but I don't like to get too fussy, you know, with what I'm doing. It kind of takes away some of my momentum. Okay, something like this. Now, you want to change color, just dip the brush in there. I usually don't stir the thing. When it gets a little bit thick with the color, you know, the pigment, I just dip my brush in on the top and then wipe it off. Otherwise, you're picking up all that heavy pigment that's settled to the bottom. Okay, here we go. We're going to put some blue. All right, now the blue can be up here across the top, blue sky. If you want to leave some clouds in there, I guess you could too. Okay. Here we are. Now, you know what I haven't done? What I haven't done is put some paper towels so this paint doesn't get on the tablecloth. There we are. How's that? All right, so I can go right to the edge now and not mess up the table. Now, at home, if I'm working on a kitchen table or the dining room table sometimes, I have one of those plastic things that you cover the table with. Otherwise, I catch trouble from you-know-who, the boss, huh? All right. See how I left some white in there for the maybe some clouds, possibly. Now, the beauty of watercolor is that you can always go back in there, and if you so desire, you can just paint over, and you don't have to water it down and reactivate it. You can paint on dry paper with wet, the paint. Now, I got sky there. I mentioned he's going fishing, so you might see a little dash of the blue water up here somewhere. Maybe you'll see a little blue water in there. Something like that. I say he, it could be a little girl. Little girls go fishing also. Okay, here we go. Now, I don't know. What the heck am I going to do down here? I could think about that a little later. It might be sitting on a rock or a boulder or have a seat there, maybe, I don't know. One of those folding chairs, whatever. Now, sort of upright, huh? Straight up. Oh, wow. That's because I had a straight line going down through there. Now, we'll see what else we want to do. I'm going to make the water maybe a little darker than the sky. Go over that a little heavier in here. Alright. Make that a straight edge over here. There you go. Alright. Get something in that piece of paper to go to the edge here. Okay. Usually I have a false mat I put around that with tape. So when I pull the tape off, you have a false, like a mat around your work. I didn't do that. I didn't bring the tape with me because it wasn't handy. I think somebody borrowed my roll of tape and never put it back with my art stuff. Probably it was me. Okay, now here we go. Something like that. Okay, now I'm not going to worry about that too much. Now, you can have that in back. You can take some of that blue if you want. You put a little touch of it back in here. Oops, you need more than that. We'll put a little blue back somewhere over in here. Oh, for crying out loud. I'm not getting enough paint on my brush here. Yeah, how's that? Fill in a little bit of that background there. Go across in there, whatever. All right. I'm getting too fussy with it. Now, let's see. We want to maybe do the hat. I think I'll use some of that raw sienna. And the hat can be sort of could be a felt hat, a straw hat, whatever you want. Canvas material, whatever they use. Now, use a smaller brush. I got one hiding in here somewhere. Okay. That's a little bit, that's all right. It's a bit kind of too small. Maybe this one's all, this was good. Okay, this is a good brush to use. Flat one. So you can take and just paint in a little bit of the hat. Okay, I need to wet that a little bit more to wiggle the brush around. It's going to be the hat. Okay, again, don't have to be too fussy. Just put the paint in that area. Get that hat on. Okay. And if you want to use that color somewhere else, you can. You can put it on a little bit on the fence post over here. I always try to take some of the colors that I use and repeat them, like the blues in 3 places, the greens in 3 places. Not that it has to be the number 3, but 3, 5, whatever, different spots that you want that to go. Maybe put a little bit on the seat here, make that a little bit darker. All right, something like this. Okay, something else. Could be whatever. Now, there you go. Whatever, something like that. I don't want to get too carried away with fussy detail here. Yeah, we'll leave it for that. Okay, now we want to, what did I say? We'll use red, right, for the shirt. Got some red around here somewhere. This shade of red, It's a little bit on the purplish side, but I guess it'd be... Oh, I got red over here. I already put it out. Yeah, red shirt. All right, just a little dab of that. And I could stick with this brush if I so desire. Make sure it doesn't have any other paint on it. And we'll paint in the sleeves, okay? We'll put some sleeves on it. Now I'm painting mostly wet onto the dry paper so I can control it a little bit, maybe. Go across here and do a little bit of the shoulder, fill that in, and maybe see a little bit down the side. Let's wrap it around the shoulder here. Get that up around the shoulder. Something like that. Okay. Now I think maybe I can extend this a little bit more down in the shirt, down into here. Something over, maybe underneath the elbow. Okay. All right. Now I don't mind leaving a little bit of the brush marks in there because that makes some of the shadow kind of on the shirt. I might go into that a little bit more with the shading towards the end. So something like this for now. Okay. Wiggle the brush around a little bit more. Up into here. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Now we can work on the pants. We said we wanted to make them a little bit on the like dungarees or something, so you can make them a lot darker. Maybe. Kind of repeating some of the blue of the water here. We'll see if we can separate that a little bit later. We'll make them a lot darker. Okay, so we got the pants. We got one foot over here. Something like that. Bring this back up into here. You can have the colors kind of bleed into each other too. They do that a lot of times when they do people on the sidewalk, you know, walking along the sidewalk. Let the colors bleed in. They don't have to be that defined, if you will. Okay. I think the other foot is over in here somehow. We'll put another leg in here somehow. Bend over here this way. Okay. We'll kind of separate it here. Maybe fill that in. I'm kind of trying to stay within my markings here too, you know. Now over in here, remember I said you can add more to it? Well, if this is going to be another leg here, what you can do, I'm going to let it dry a bit, but I'll use my marker and put another shoe in there as we go along. Okay, now if you want this to be a boy or a girl, that depends. Let's make it a little girl. Why not? All right, make her a blonde. Blondie. Take a little bit of my yellow. Make sure your brush is clean. Okay, we'll make the hair. Put the hair right in here, right down on the side. She's got longer blonde hair in there. Okay, head's underneath the hat here a little bit. Hairline goes right into there. And that looks all right, doesn't it? Yeah. We'll add a little bit of another line in here. Remember I said you can add to this as you go? We'll probably outline it a little bit more. Where we want something to jump out, we can do that. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit because I want to do that, put the fishbowl in. And I was using, where was I? I was over here with some of that paint. Where'd I hide it? We'll put some more out. Maybe I'll even use some darker color. Let's try this. A little bit of that sepia, darker color for the fishbowl. Fishbowl, something like this. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we could show a little bit of it here. Oh, what am I doing here? Still have a lot of yellow on the brush, apparently. Here we go. Fishbowl. Something like this. And then it goes out like that. Let's fill that in. Okay. A little bit bent through here. Okay, that's that. Now, let's see. Oh, you've got to do some of the flesh tone. Use a little bit of orange here. And do some of the face. Okay, fill in the face a bit. Okay, have a suntan too if you want. Why not? Then here's some of the arm, hand. This is wet, so I have to be careful and not getting too much of the wet into the wet here, but maybe a little tighter through here. Show the elbow. Okay, something like that. Now, you want to finish her up? We can do a little bit of some of that post. Fill that in a little bit more over here. A little darker there. Okay. Now, remember I said something about finishing the foot. You take your marker and see this foot here is sort of the toes up a bit. Well, this one can go this way. It can go down out that way. You put the foot out that way. So the foot's in a little different position. Okay, now I've done quite a bit of the filling in part. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I might come back and take my little thin brush here and maybe put some grass back in here. If I can find that green again. Is that it? That it? You could put just some grass or something growing in here. Kind of a little bit of a background. Get that filled in. There you go. If you're not quite sure what's happening here, you just kind of make it look grassy. those are the things I mentioned about adding on. All right, now see how we're doing on the drawing part. Whoops, the caps are flying. Okay, let's just blot that a little bit so it dries faster. I don't know if I got any more of the spots in there or not. I think for the most part it's going to dry out all right. Just pick up a little bit there. Yeah, I think that's going to be all right. Now, once this gets a little drier, and I'm helping it along because we don't have a lot of time, you know. And but what I do is come back. You can take a wider marker, and whatever you want to redefine, you can. If something doesn't show up enough. Now, I think I'm going to just put a little bit of a heavier mark here on that leg and repeat it over here, outline this leg, okay, something like this. If you want to define the shoe a little bit, you can a little bit more. And then going out that way. Let's see, I don't know if you want to show the hat off a little bit more, you can go over that line and zap that way. What else we need? Post, maybe, a little bit of outline the post, some of the seat, whatever. I think if I do the face, I'll do a smaller marker. You can show a little bit of the shirt here. You might see a little bit of the shoulder strap coming around there, something like that. Let's see. Now, I think I've done quite enough with that particular size marker. Then you come back in and you can maybe use a little bit more of the thin marker for detail. Show some of the strands of hair. Maybe put a mouth in there. Okay. You can show a little bit more of the wrinkles in the sleeves. Maybe pockets here and there. And whatnot. This you can kind of work on a little bit longer. And you can always add more to it as you go along. Okay. You may want to show maybe a little bit of the contour of some of the woodland out, some of the trees in here. I don't know what you want to do with that, but you might want to put a little bit of texture there. And whatnot, show some of the tips of the trees. Something like that, whatever. And then, of course, you have to sign it, right? You have to sign it. So you might want to put your signature right in there. I usually try to hide my name in there somewhere. You know, so it's not too conspicuous, whatever. And then the other thing, I want to put that, outline that sleeve there a little bit more. I'm always finding some little thing I can do. Okay? You want to put a fish on the hook? You can. I don't dare to do it. Okay, but you can do it. If it looks like it's a little fish hanging there, you can put a fish on it. Whatnot. So, but anyway, a little dot maybe for the eye, possibly. Maybe. Show up the kneecap a little bit more. So, now that's sort of a quickie, isn't it? that's a quickie. And but that was just started from the idea was just from Scribble. So just for the fun of it, I've got another piece of paper hiding in here somewhere, I hope. Just for the fun of it. You can do something you have something purposely in mind when that was just at random. But you can do the same thing with your marker if you wanted to do like, well, we'll do like a land, maybe some water, and then you could put in some of the contour of the landscape. You could dash some trees in there, whatever you want to do with it. You could have some mountains off in the background, whatever. Let's see, what else? Well, whatever else you want to put in there. Oh my gosh, you have somebody camping, put a tent off here somewhere, or whatever, igloo, whatever. It could be a rock or something. Whatever you want to do with it. And then that's the same idea. That's the same idea. Now, I don't know if this is going to look like anything else, turning this around. Probably not. Although I could see something maybe climbing a tree, possibly. Some sort of an animal that climbs trees, woodpecker, maybe. Pounding on the tree, making this nest inside of a hollow tree or something like that. But you can come up with all sorts of ideas. Now, as far as painting this in, you take whatever you have left over, maybe on your palette. I can dash in a little bit, get rid of the blue. You can put a little bit of blue sky in there. You can put some more, use up your blue here, if it is blue. No, it's green. Okay, that's all right. Make that the land. There's some land in through here. Okay. And I'm using just a big brush for the whole thing. Okay. Now, remember, I guess you could put some more blue back here. You could make the water. Give it a little bit of texture. Okay. Get some color there for the background. I don't know. Take a little bit of your green. You want your greens to be a little bit darker. You can borrow a little bit of some other shade here. Maybe put a little bit more blue to it. And you can have some hills in the background. You can do your trees, put them in. Whoops. Dash some trees in there. Now this is spontaneous. You can work fast. And sometimes when you're working faster, some of these things come out better, believe it or not. They do come out better. Let's see. I don't know if you want to put anything else in the foreground. You can. If you want to color in the tent, you can. Whatever you want to do with it. Now you can let that set. Okay, let this set up, and then come back in after it dries. It sets and dries, settles in. Then you can start working some other dry. You've got the dry surface with paint, of course, and then you can start working with a smaller brush. Put in some little, grass and stuff, whatever you want to decorate around there. Now, that's a very spontaneous type of thing. You can do it with anything you want, any subject that you want. You can take. Sometimes I do a spontaneous drawing. If you want to do a face, do a profile. So a profile can be really like a cartoon character, right? Something like this, you know. You know how you can make a funny faces. Now you can do something like that. You can go. You can add more detail. You want to give them a hat, put a funny hat on. It could be a farmer with a straw hat, which is fine. Put some markings on it. Whatever. Whatever you want to turn it into, you know, you can do that. So you can have a lot of fun, but don't get too serious about what you're trying to do. Because you're just being spontaneous, you know. If it turns out pretty good, okay, that's fine. If it doesn't always work, fine. You're still out there working more spontaneously and with your artwork. So those are some of the tips I'm leaving you with today. And next week I'll probably be getting closer to that flower show. So next week I'll probably do something like a floral painting, and I'll try to do that a little bit more spontaneous, similar to the idea of today. Okay, so that's pretty well it. I'm running a little bit out of time. I'm a little bit ahead of time today, which is unusual for me. I'm usually lifting my paintbrush after I've run out of time and putting my paintbrush back in the water, rinse my brushes out, get a paper towel. Always clean your brushes. Make sure you don't leave any paint in them. Make sure when you put them in the water and rinse them, when you squeeze it out on the towel should look relatively clean, no paint on it, okay? So you clean up your brushes, all that, the ones you've used, and make sure your caps are on, your paints, check your paints. I usually tighten up all my caps, you know, well, with the paint I've used. And also, if I haven't used anything today, hey, here we go. I think I left a red cap for that over here. There it is. Now, the thing is that whatever you do, make sure the caps are back on, screwed on properly. If there's a lot of paint around the cap, I dip it in the water, pinch it out, make sure you wipe it off, so your cap can go on without having a problem with the paint on the opening. Let's get this one right. Oh my gosh. It doesn't want to go on there straight. Okay, let's put it back in the water, wiggle it around. All right, pinch it out and see if it will work again. All right. Well, that wants to be that wants to give me a little trouble today. That's okay. Whoa, my goodness. It's all over the place. Okay. Looks like I cut my finger, but it's just the paint. Okay. Take a clean towel here. Wipe my fingers off. All right. So wrap that one up for a while. take that home, clean it up at home. Now, so we've run out of time, so brush us up and I'll see you next week.